Located just south of Michigan City, Indiana, there's a small town in the middle of nowhere called Otis. For any normal person, there would be no reason to visit such a secluded area. But if you're a foamer, there's something very special about this place. Otis Hill. You see, there is a hill for trains in Indiana. Yeah, I know, I live here and I was shocked when I found out about it too. This area has a lot of rolling hills which have been combined by the railroad on an embankment to create one long gradual hill. It's quite an exciting spot to railfan as eastbounds struggle up the grade and westbounds fly down it. The main spot to railfan at Otis Hill is South Homelsville Road. There's a large gravel area you can pull off. Trains heading east are not only struggling but going up an embankment, and for trains heading west there's a long straightaway and they fly by. Not to mention, there's a crossing with horns, and for me, who usually railfans in no horn zones, that's quite nice. On March 8th, 2026, me, my dad, and my little sister set out for Otis Hill. This is going to be my first time railfanning here, and on the way, I missed NSA 81. Once we got to South Homelsville Road, we immediately started hearing the sound of an eastbound climbing the grade. I soon set up, and eventually NSB09 appeared from around the curve, with the same duo of disgusting C6Ms that had been on it for a while now. This train used to have Dash 9s for power exclusively, but not anymore. The horn on that leading unit was interesting, but otherwise this train was very boring. After a very brief wait, NS39E appeared heading west. This train jump-scared us as there's no crossings westbounds have to blow for, and they're basically rolling down the hill, so there's very little engine noise. Glad I did get my camera started in time, though, because there was a Dash 9 trailing. It was a bit of a wait after that, before the signal finally turned orange. I was really hoping for something interesting, maybe foreign power, and I got exactly that as the train was a CPKC run-through auto rack, 106, with a CP-GEVO leading and KCS AC-44 trailing. Nice. Then another westbound jump scare happened. This time it was 23G going at quite a good speed, with a somewhat rare Tier 4 GEVO leading and nice ace in third. Not to mention a nice long cut of TUFC cars near the end. After this, we decided to wait for one more eastbound and then attempt chasing it to see if it was possible, since at any other spot, chasing on this line is, well, not possible. We eventually did get what we wanted when 264 appeared after about 30 minutes of waiting. The consist was nothing special, just a back-to-back GEVO duo, but at least it wasn't C6Ms, right? It was definitely chugging getting up the grade, and while I might not like GEVOs, I can admit that they do sound pretty awesome when they're under strain like this. The intention was to chase this train to Pinola or maybe the depot, but we ended up overtaking it way sooner than we thought. And so when we arrived at West 100 South, we noticed this giant curve, saw the train approaching, and decided to pull off to get this unique shot, which I probably won't ever get again. 2 months and 3 days later, on May 11th, I found myself back at Otis Hill. Completely unintentionally. I was intending to go to Pinola for the first time on this day. Pinola is a unique rail fending spot. Not only is it accessible, but there's a curve for eastbounds and this cool water tower shot for westbounds. And there was gondolas blocking the other side of the depot view, and I didn't want to be backlit, so I decided to come here. I had no specific target on this day, just wanted to go rail fanning really badly, and my aunt was nice enough to offer to take me, so I decided to go. Once we arrived at Pinola, it was a long wait and a long session of GeoGrid. Yeah, have you ever heard of GeoGrid? This is weird, but you should play GeoGrid. I'm also a massive geography nerd, as well as a rail fan. Anyways, that minor rant aside, it took about 45 minutes before we finally saw a train, 23G heading west. It was a C6M leader, so we were disappointed until it got closer and we realized, holy moly, there were 8 engines! And 2 of them were aces, and 1 was a -9. What a consist. However, after it cleared the crossing here at Pinola, it started to slow down, and eventually it stopped with the tail end just over the crossing. Since this was such a good consist, we decided since it stopped, we might as well chase it. So we got on the road and headed west, and eventually we found them at that same curve at West 100 South that we saw 264 at last time we were at Otis Hill. Sadly, due to the extreme tree cover in this area, we were unable to get any shots of the engine stopped. So we decided to head to the next crossing that they'd have to pass over if they started up again, which just so happened to be West Homersville Road on Otis Hill. So we ended up going there. And once we made it, we found out why they were stopped. NS-29P was also stopped, blocking their way, with a duo of Beansniff Gevos. I'm assuming this train was the one that had the mechanical failure, because this train is really high priority, so why would they stop it here? And I'm assuming the stopping of 23G was just a side effect. After quite a wait, we saw some action, but it wasn't 23G or 29P, it was 26X heading east, and I got a really good shot of it going around the curve. There was also an ace trailing, which was nice. As 26X passed, the crew of 29P got out and did a roll-by inspection. Now it was getting late, so we decided the next train would be the final one. And that train, just to come full circle, was NSB09, with Dash 9s, who had taken over the duty again during the gap between my two trips. This train was also inspected by the crew of 29P as it passed. And after that, we left. Supposedly, 29P and 23G didn't depart until early the next morning, so I'm glad I didn't stick around for them. But yeah, that was my 2 trips to Otis Hill. Sorry this video took so long to come out. I was busy with other things like the Bentonville trip, music videos, Big Boy, etc. But now it's finally out and I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to catch those units while you can, especially the ones that are part of gigantic power moves, and I will see you in the next video.